Hello and welcome back to the Jessica Pinelli podcast. We have another solo episode. I'm really excited to go into today's episode and speak to you about being a high achiever and feeling unsatisfied with your life. Even though you have these great big dreams and ambitions, there are sometimes points in our life where we're feeling unsatisfied and it feels like we're doing all of the right things. But before we get started, if you're watching here on YouTube, number one, I'm sending you so much love. But I would absolutely love if you hit the subscribe button, if you hit the thumbs up. It is truly supporting the channel. It is pushing this out to more and more like minded, high achieving women. And I absolutely love connecting with you all and reading your comments and creating content that you want to see. And if you're listening to this whilst you're driving on your hot girl walk, whether it's on Spotify or iTunes, I would love it if you could give me a 5-star rating. And even if you have 5 seconds leaving a review, it means so much to the podcast. But today's episode is all about understanding what to start to look at if you're feeling like you've hit this plateau and you're feeling unsatisfied with your life, but especially if you also feel like you are doing the in quotation marks right things, what you perceive are the right things, and you know, okay, I'm here to create an above average life. I'm here to do great things in my career or in my business, to have these deep relationships, to make money, to have experiences, but I'm just feeling a little bit unsatisfied at the moment. And these three things that I'm going to share with you are definitely the patterns that I have seen time and time again over the past 5 years in this business with working with many, many high achieving women. But I've also seen these patterns in myself. The perfect complement to this podcast episode, by the way, is my free 2-part training hack. It's all about hacking your subconscious mind for habits of success. I actually go through a bit of phase one of my woman mastery methodology that I teach all of my clients. There are two examples, two actionable examples and frameworks and concepts that I actually teach my clients that I have put into this free training because I was like, you know what? It's so juicy. They are so good. Every single high achieving woman needs them. So if you want to learn those two frameworks, the concepts, definitely sign up in the show notes below to that free 2-part training that you can either watch or you can actually listen to. I've made it so you can go on your hot girl walk and you don't need to be staring at a screen if you don't want to. And I've gotten some really, really good feedback from this free training. A lot of people are like, why is this free? This should be a paid training, but it's juicy and it's taken from, like I said, my woman mastery methodology, which I share with all of my masterminders, all of my private clients. And so if you want the full experience of the methodology, then applying for the mastermind is definitely your go. All of the details for Woman Mastery Mastermind is in the show notes below. But let's get into three of the main reasons that I see high achieving women getting to a point in their journey, and this can happen many times. This doesn't mean that this is a once off thing. This can happen many, many times. It has happened to me, it's happened to my close friends as well, where we feel unsatisfied. And I've got them written down. So if you see me looking at my phone, that is why. But the first one, definitely this, I mean, all of these are big, but this is a huge, huge one: choosing instant gratification versus a long term goal, long term vision, long term legacy. A lot of the work that I do with my clients around the woman mastery methodology is about crafting a long term vision and legacy. When we are constantly chasing these dopamine hits, when we are constantly chasing these quick wins, it feels really, really good in the moment, but it also doesn't create the long term vision and the long term success that we desire as high achieving women. We, high achieving women are women who are ambitious, who have these big goals and these big desires and want to live a life that most people will never experience, but that requires us to put in the work long term. And so, something that I teach all of my clients and I'm teaching you now is, instead of wanting to have these quick wins and the instant gratification that, yes, I get it. It feels really, really good in the moment. It feels like it's a dopamine hit. So of course it feels good, but it's not going to create the results that you want long term. And this is often why I see women who are getting these quick wins that have no connection to their long-term goals and their long-term visions. And they feel like they're burnt out because they're constantly chasing. They're constantly having this quick win. And then, like, okay, well, I'm a little bit closer to my goals and my ambitions, but like, I'm not really seeing, if I look at my life the past 6 months, I'm not really seeing the progress I want to see. And that's probably because you're just aiming for the quick wins. On top of that, probably also setting safe goals. If you want a step by step, easy, digestible goal setting process, highly recommend jumping into the show notes and getting the CEO goal setting workshop and having that in your toolbox and using that every quarter to refine your goals, or every 6 months to refine your goals. It has been called many, many times the best goal setting workshop that any woman has ever taken, because number one, it's easy, it's actionable, and it turns those ambition goals into things that are attainable. I know that I spent many, many years where, especially, the start of the new year, I'd be like, you knew me, and I'd write like a page of goals and I'd probably take off like one to two because I'd get too overwhelmed. I would also not have clarity on how to achieve those goals. And then I would start to just get into the cycles of like, I'd get to now like July in the year and I'm like, oh, too hard basket. I'll wait till next year. So if you don't want to keep repeating those cycles with goals and you actually want a system that works and brings you clarity, definitely jump into the goals workshop and start to craft your long-term vision. What's the legacy that you want to create for yourself? Like you're here, you're put on this earth to create something big. Start acting like it. Start acting like these are the things that you truly desire, instead of just thinking about it, or maybe just saying it to your friend or maybe your current coach or whoever it may be. But again, if you want to work on this long term and actually be able to become rooted in it and grounded in it, the mastermind is for you. Number two, what I see leading women to become very unsatisfied with their life is basing their life on an authority figure versus their true values and desires and what inspires them. When I talk about an authority figure, what I'm talking about is someone that you perceive as an authority in your life. So that may be your parents, your mom, your dad, that may be your partner, that may be someone you idolize on social media, maybe it's your boss, maybe it is a friend that you have, or a celebrity. It doesn't, like, whoever in your mind you perceive as an authority figure. What I often see is high achievers, especially, will take that authority figure and will use that as the basis of what they should be working towards and what their version of success is. And when we do this, it doesn't mean that their version of success and how they live life is wrong whatsoever. But when we take someone else's that we view as an authority figure, we kind of outsource our own authority. And this will feed into point three. But basically, what it's saying is, I'm going to do myself a disservice. I'm not going to connect to what inspires me and what my true desires are. And so, what I want you to start to look at is everything that you're basing your version of success on. And I say this time and time again to my clients, is like, you need to get crystal clear on your version of success. We do this in the mastermind and with my private clients. You need to get crystal clear. But if you look at your version of success right now as I'm talking, or even pause this podcast episode, your version of success and what you have in your mind, is it based upon an authority figure, like who you perceive as an authority figure in your life? Or is it actually based on your true desires, your goals, your values? I cover all of that in the goals workshop. And most importantly, what inspires you. If anything you're doing, you're attaching a should, it either isn't part of what you truly desire and what you have value in. And if it's actually something that like needs, like, for example, in business, there may be like your tax, like doing your tax that doesn't inspire you, it's not a value of yours, but being in whatever country you're in, and for me, like Australia, like the tax needs to be done. So I'll outsource it, right? You delegate it to someone else. But overall, I just want you to look at your version of success and ask yourself, is this through the lens of who I perceive as an authority figure? Someone that we idolize, someone that we praise, someone that we look up to, someone who we believe is living life in the perceived right way? Or is this actually based on my own desires, my own values, on the things that inspire me? And when you start to find the discrepancies, that's when you start to eliminate and get crystal clear and be really, really honest with yourself about what you truly want and what you're working on. Because, I have many women that come and work with me and then they say to me, oh my God, that's not, I've just realized like that version of success is actually my mom's version. And I've been working on it for the past 5 years. And no wonder I feel like I'm doing everything, but I'm not inspired and I don't feel like I have a purpose, right? Getting crystal clear on that. And then the last thing that feeds into both point number one and point number two is, are you dismissing your needs versus your self trust, building your self trust? What I see a lot of the time is high achieving women will say they're going to do something and then they will dismiss it. They will think other things are more important, or they won't prioritize what really needs to be done to inspire themselves to move the needle, but also overall just looking after their own wellness, their own mental health, and prioritizing that. When you dismiss your needs, you're not building self trust. If you don't have self trust, you aren't able to back yourself. If you aren't able to back yourself, you basically, like, you can't hold yourself accountable. You won't be able to work through any of the things you really want to work through. And so self trust is the foundation of everything. One of the reasons I built this business is because I want women to connect with themselves so they have self trust. So start to look in your life. Where are you dismissing your needs? Are you saying to yourself, I can't go for that walk first thing in the morning because I need to do XYZ? Okay, what's more important? What is actually going to get you more in alignment with trusting yourself and feeling deeply connected to yourself? Because at the end of the day, as I said, you need to work on your self trust to be able to do the other two things that I am speaking about. And if you're feeling unsatisfied with your life, it's because you have this disconnect, a big disconnect with how you're trusting yourself, and you're betraying yourself. You're betraying your own needs to either please that authority figure in your life, or because you believe you're not worthy of building the self trust, right? So, starting like above everything, should be your starting point, especially if you're feeling unsatisfied. And it's the small things. How can I meet my needs in my life? How can I build self trust? And it starts with keeping promises to yourself. You tell yourself you're going to drink 2 liters of water a day, do it. You tell yourself that you're going to go on a 30-minute walk a day, do it. Stop dismantling your needs and telling yourself they're not important or they don't need to be done, because it becomes this forever cycle of betraying your own needs, dismissing your own needs, and not actually putting in value into the trust that you have for yourself. So, overall, I've given you a look at three things. So, just to recap, right? Number one, choosing instant gratification versus actually building and creating long term vision, long term results that is going to actually drive the progress in your life. Number two, basing your life on an authority who you perceive as an authority figure versus your true values, desires, and what truly inspires you in life. Like, the inspiration part is like what feels good in your soul, what feels good in your bones, what like gives you that tingling feeling of excitement, like you're like, oh, I just want to do this. And then number three, dismissing your needs versus actually building your self trust. And the simplest way to start is doing the things you said you were going to do. You're going to drink 2 liters of water, do that. You said that you're going to work out 3 times a week, do that. You said you're going to post a piece of content every second day, do that. Stop betraying your needs, because that builds up over time. And then you wondered why you feel so disconnected from yourself. Now, I hope this has given you some insight into why you may be feeling unsatisfied in your life, why maybe you've hit a bit of a plateau. And like I said, a couple of resources for you to complement this podcast episode. Definitely sign up to the free 2-part training hack, all about hacking your subconscious mind, going through phase 1 of the Woman Mastery Method, which is all about subconscious reprogramming. We reprogram our subconscious mind and then we start up from there. Number 2, applying for the mastermind. The mastermind is 6 months of support, both it's hybrid support, so both group support and one-on-one support from me. This is all about overcoming those internal blockers to success: fear of failure, fear of success, fear of judgment, the things that actually are stopping you from like doing the next thing to the next level, so you can scale your results and get insane results across the board in your life, right? Imagine who you are now and your future self. It's about bridging that gap in 6 months. And I've seen it time and time and time again of women who come into the mastermind and insanely scaling their results in money, in business or career, and also in their relationships. All of the details for that are in the show notes below. But I hope you've gotten so much from this podcast episode. And like I said, let me know if you're watching here on YouTube, what you want me to talk about next. And also, giving it a thumbs up, subscribing to this channel, and if you're listening, giving a 5-star review. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will speak to you in the next episode. Bye.